Similar to when we added fractions, we can subtract mixed numbers, keeping them as a mixed number. The thing we have to watch out for with subtracting mixed numbers is we may need to borrow. And when we borrow, we're looking really at the denominator to see how much gets borrowed over. Let me show you what I mean by that with an example. Let's take 7 3/8, and we'll subtract away 2 3/4. As usual, to subtract with mixed numbers, we need to get a common denominator. Our common denominator here is 8, so I need to multiply the second fraction by 2 over 2. That's going to give me 6/8. The problem is if I have 3/8, I can't take away 6/8 from that. So we're going to borrow from the 7, dropping it down to a 6. The way we figure out how much gets borrowed over is we're going to take the denominator of 8 and add it to the 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. So we have 11/8 minus 6/8. Now that we have a common denominator, we can keep that denominator and subtract 11 minus 6 to get 5. And then finally, what's left is 6 minus 2, which is 4. Our difference is 4 5/8. Let's try another example. Let's try one with a negative. Let's do negative 2 1/3 plus 6 2/9. Now, if you remember when we did operations with negatives, the bigger number would keep the sign. So in this case, the bigger number is positive, so I know my final answer is going to be positive. Then we subtracted the numbers, putting the big number on top. So 6 2/9 minus 2 1/3. Now we can work on getting a common denominator. Between 9 and 3 is going to be 9. So we'll multiply the second denominator by 3, giving us 3/9. But again, you notice we cannot take 2/9 and take 3/9 away from it. So we borrow. 6 drops down to a 5. And we add 9 plus 2 to find out we now have 11/9. 11 minus 3 is 8 over 9. And 5 minus 2 is 3. And so we end up with 3 8/9. Let's do one last problem. Let's do another one with negatives. Negative 5 3/7 plus 2 1/4. Again, remembering our operations with negatives, if we have a positive and a negative, the bigger one keeps the sign. This time, the bigger one is negative, so my answer is negative. Now I subtract them, putting the larger number, 5 3/7, on top, and we'll subtract the 2 1/4, and our answer is just negative whatever we come up with. Well, here our common denominator is going to be 28, so we multiply the first fraction by 4 over 4, and the second fraction by 7 over 7. That's going to give us 12 over 28 and 7 over 28. This time we don't have to borrow because I can do 12 minus 7. 12 minus 7 is 5 out of 28. Then I just have to subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 2 is 3, and we get negative 3 5/28 for our difference. So subtracting mixed numbers, we can do it with the mixed numbers. We just have to be aware that we might have to borrow from the whole number. When we borrow, we add the denominator to the numerator. It's your turn to look at doing some of these operations with mixed numbers. Let your instructor know if you have any questions.